and welcome to the week 10, I believe it is, podcast here. I'm your award-winning host, Robbie Wright. We have the best show lined up for you guys today. I'm not even going to beat around the bush. I got a nice surprise for you guys. You guys have to stay tuned. Add the suspense here. I'd like to congratulate our top point getter this week, Matt Bonesaw Myers. He has won $25 once again this season. So congrats to Bonesaw out in Minnesota. We're going to get him on the award-winning podcast here shortly. I'm still a little salty about how that game ended. This is so yinzer right now. I got a Steeler mug. I got my Penguin shirt. Got Iceberg. And I got my Pittsburgh photo and Steeler country. So yeah, this is a pretty yinzer moment here. But we'll jump into the scores from this past week. Before I jump into the matchups here, I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of an update on the standings because playoff time is right around the corner here, and it's pretty competitive now. We have a three-way tie for first, and Palacey, Bonesaw, and Jared Conning. Jared's usually up there yearly. He knows what he's doing with his trades. But Palacey and Bonesaw, we have two rookies here who are making the veterans here look pretty bad. So I got to give credit where credit's due, though. I mean, these guys, they're coming to play this season. I think Bonesaw secretly studies this shit and puts a little bit of time into this. Palacey, I don't know. He might be doing the same thing. He might be playing it off like it's luck, but at the same time, he may be working the hardest out of all of us. So those three are currently tied for first, and we know that Jared, he eats, sleeps, breathes fantasy football. And then we got a three-way tie for fourth, fifth, and sixth, or fourth place, which is myself, Carmen, and Mike. So really, none of us can afford any more losses right now because we got Casey, who is at 5-5. He has one of the better teams, I feel like, just looking at his roster. And George, who is a two-time champion in this league, they're in the 7 and 8 spot here, so they are right on our tails. And Daryl Wonko, he's still alive here at the 9 spot. He probably cannot afford another loss the rest of the season. I know he's on a little bit of a skid here. He's lost his last 4 games in a row. And Trevor, Matter, they're not mathematically out yet, but they pretty much are. And Jordan, he's just kind of chilling where he usually just chills. So, those are the updated standings here. We have 3 more weeks, and then it's playoff time. So it's coming here. So I'd also like to do Christmas time. Whoever wins, I want to do a podcast where I present the $1,000 to the champion. I think it's be a little bit of a cool idea here, as well as the second and third place people around. Maybe get all 3 guys in. So hopefully I'm one of them. So I'd like to do a little bit of a live podcast. Thanksgiving is around the corner, and next week, I know last year we had a drunken podcast. We might be doing something like that next week. So stay tuned. The podcast might be coming to you guys on Thanksgiving morning. So we'll see what comes. So jumping into the scores here. We'll start off with my score. I took down Daryl Wonka by a score of 136.1 to 113.3. Carson Wentz didn't do shit for me. DeMarco Murray had 2 touchdowns. Tyrell Williams, that was some black as fuck name. I don't even know what the hell his first name, what the T stands for. T. Williams, the San Diego wide receiver, 23.5. And Antonio Brown got some garbage fourth quarter points, which I really appreciated, with 34.4. Whereas Daryl Wonka, Odell Beckham Jr. had a nice outing for a Monday Night Football, but unfortunately it was too little too late. Daryl Wonka drops his 4th game in a row. So things aren't really going too well for Daryl Wonka. So congratulations to yours truly, improving to 6-4, while Daryl Wonka drops to 4-6. We won the next matchup here, and this was a matchup of 2 of the top dogs in the league, Palacey versus Game of Gronk, Mike Madden. And Palacey took down Mike by a score of 128.6 to 97.6. Not the greatest of outings for Mike. He's put up some big numbers in past weeks. Drew Brees did well, but Ingram didn't do shit. Carlos Hyde didn't do shit. Brandon Cooks had a touchdown. Edelman's been a little bit of a disappointment this year. And Gronk is actually, I don't even know if he's playing this week, so we'll see how that goes. Where he might have some guys on bye. Not really. Or is Placey, Aaron Rodgers? You can make a case. I mean, he's didn't. I know that they got their asses handed to them by Tennessee, but he still put up the fancy numbers. He's been doing it all year, pretty consistent. Freeman 11.1. Stephon Diggs has been flying under the radar here for Placey. I'm not going to give him too much credit here because I don't think he really went into the season thinking this guy was going to be a stud. I don't think anyone did. This is kind of where the luck part comes in fantasy football. Sometimes you land a guy and they have a great season. For example, last season I remember taking Freeman Rule 8, and he was one of the best running backs in fantasy football last year. So sometimes you get lucky. So congrats to Placey. He improves to 7-3, while Mike drops to 6-4. Move on to the next matchup here. Shitty Form Team 3, which is Benjamin Matta versus Lloyd Christmas, Carmen Fortunato, and Carmen took down Ben. Pretty close here, 133.1 to 125.3. Matter putting up 125 points. It probably feels like a win for him, but this was a big game for Carmen. He needed this W to stay alive in the playoff hunt, and he got it. Pretty much losing to a team like Ben, it just doesn't help you. It doesn't help your morale, doesn't help you in the standings, so congrats to Carmen here. Looking at this matchup here, Larry Fitzgerald, A.J. Green, it combined for, what is that, 40-some points right there between the two receivers. And Delaney Walker had himself a day. It seemed like every single time I looked, he was catching a 40-yard pass against the Packers. The Packers' D was horrendous on Sunday. And Carmen also had a lot of bench points, too, so whenever you put up those kind of points, it's nice. And to see the depth guys even producing, even though it's not counting, it's nice knowing you have reassurance if someone goes down or with these bye weeks. Whereas Shitty Farm Team 3, Des Bryant, he had that late touchdown against the Steelers, which, yeah. And Demaryius Thomas, he's just been hit or miss all year. Jason Witten had himself a nice game. Whereas he had Green Bay defense getting him -6. And that's just kind of just the way things have gone for Matter this season. I mean, he puts the least amount of effort into fantasy football probably out of everyone, and whenever that's kind of like karma coming at you. We're gonna hit you with a -6 with defense. So, congrats to Carmen. He improves to 6-4, while Matter drops to 3-7. Pretty much coming towards the end for Matter in this season. He's not mathematically out yet, but it's coming. It's approaching real soon. Move on to the next matchup here, and it is the Cellar Dwellers versus Beats by DeAndre, Jared Cunning, and Jared took down Jordan by a score of 122.1 to 88.3. Jordan, what did he have? Yeah, Julio had a nice game, 23.5, whereas no one else really showed up. And Jared just got a nice balance from everyone here. Cam Newton, 23. David Johnson's been good all year, 27.1. Kicker showing up, Matt Bryant, 10 points. So congrats to Jared on improving to 7-3, while Cellar Dwellers Jordan Bailey drops to 1-9. Move on to the next matchup here, and this was a rivalry matchup. Casey, he threw some daggers at George, pretty much saying that he's a bitch and that he can kick his ass. I'm pretty sure he said that, quote unquote. And he backed up the talk because he took down George by a score of 118.9 to 103. Looking at the matchup here, Ezekiel Elliott. Jared got to be hating that trade right now because Ezekiel Elliott has just been tearing it up all season. 40.9. That might be the most a running back has put up this season. Nice job, Steelers defense. Whereas George, other than Doug Baldwin, no one really came to play. So the champ, he's at 500 right now, but the season's not over, and George typically does better in the second half of the year, as you can tell by the 2 championships he has. So move on to the last matchup here, and we'll get Bonesaw on the phone here in a minute. Bonesaw took down Trevor by a score of 160.9 to 102.4. And Bonesaw, you look at his matchup here, Marcus Mariota, 28.6. That guy, he had himself a day. Lev Bell, this is the patience is paying off for Bonesaw here, because Lev, he's catching all the screen passes, getting a point every single time. That's tough to play against in a PPR league. So Bonesaw, that was probably the best first round pick anyone's made this season. Jordy Nelson, 30.6. He got some garbage points too, but nonetheless, everyone showed up for Bonesaw except Minnesota defense. And We're gonna get the Minnesota Miracle Man here on the phone, and we'll get this underway.
Hello.
We'd like to welcome to the award-winning podcast, Mr. Matt Bonesaw Myers. Bonesaw, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Another good week.
Another good week is right. I'd like to congratulate you. You are now $50 richer this season.
Yes.
Just kind of get into it. You're one of those guys who you jumped into this league this season, and you have one of the stronger teams here. Just going through your lineup here. Marcus Mariota, he's had a few nice weeks. Lev Bell getting that 1 point every single time he catches a screen pass out of the backfield. You got a nice little team on your hands, don't you?
It's not bad. I got lucky with Mariota, but looking good.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a little bit of luck to be successful in this. So
yeah.
Hopefully things keep going strong for you here. Ready to dive into these questions?
Let's go.
All right. First question I have for you, and we will call this guy Mike Palacey. Oh. Is what do you miss most about Pat?
Oh, what do I miss most about Pat? Probably the terrible woman advice he would give. He knows nothing about a good relationship, yet yet he always has something to say. So I'd say the good advice for sure.
The good advice, yeah, that's probably one of the last people I would ever go to for romance advice. So
Andy McCormick, honestly.
Yeah, that's very very well documented there that they have some flaws when it comes to romance, but they're still great guys. This is probably one of the most aggressive questions we've had on the show, so get ready for this, Bonesaw. Does anyone have a shorter ass crack than you?
It has actually been proven that Dan Kudla of Trevor's friend and Ben and all them actually does have a shorter crack than me.
And how did this come about?
We were at camp, and they measured both mine and my younger brother's, and I had the shorter crack. And then the following year, Dan Kudla showed his ass, and we also noticed that it was small, so we measured them up as well.
Wow, I'm glad that we... I don't even know what to say about this. So
it's really not that gay. It's fine.
I'm not saying it's gay. I'm just saying it's just like this is too much investigation for this topic. So
it gets pretty in depth. That was the short story. It gets pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys got to the bottom of this, and you know that you're not in last place. So
I'm not the worst.
So next question is: besides selling kids cigarettes and trying to play hockey, what do you do in Minnesota when the winter weather is so shitty and cold?
There's really not much to do but stay warm, but I do snowboard sometimes, and they do a good job of keeping the winter fun, so a lot of outdoor rinks and ponds and kind of tournaments outside, so it's not too bad.
Are you playing in that Labatt Pond Hockey Tournament?
Yeah. Yep.
When is that?
It's usually right after New Year's, so probably a week or two after that.
That's actually pretty cool there. So, move on to the next question here. This one actually is pretty funny. Nuclear war. Population eliminated besides you, Palacey's girlfriend, and Trevor's wife. Who do you pick to reproduce with and why?
I mean, do I have to deal with them?
Yeah.
I gotta go Lindsay. At least she puts up with Trevor's shit. She's gone through a lot. We've heard the story from Placey about his old lady throwing his shit all over the place. I don't know if I can handle that.
You know what? That's actually a really good answer, because I felt like that was going to be a tough question to answer here, and that's actually a really good reasoning. So, yeah, Placey apparently has the most psychotic significant other out of all of us. So, it's well documented now. And the last question is: name the three shittiest males in South Allegheny.
The 3 shittiest males in South Allegheny. Like history?
Just out of, just in between. How about between the ranges 2 years older and 2 years younger than you?
Okay, that's fair. I mean, do you keep Glassport in this? Cause
Yeah,
there's,
sure.
I mean,
you could throw Durawanko in there. I don't care.
yeah, that's true. Man, that's a hard one. Let's just go hockey. I'll stick with anyone that's played hockey out of South Allegheny.
Yeah, do that actually.
And I'll go Brandon Hugh. I don't know if you ever met him. He was a fat turd. Dustin Bird.
I know who that is, and that kid sucks.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. And then, last one. Let's go. This is tough.
How about Shitty Nick?
Yeah, Shitty Nick sucks. Oh, let's go Zach Bauman, not hockey. I don't like Zach Bauman.
So Ben's brother?
Yeah, he's the worst.
Okay. There you have it, guys. Ben Bauman's brother sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you couldn't imagine that from meeting Ben.
Yeah, it's...
Quite surprised.
Yeah, it's not really that big of a surprise. Bonesaw, I'd like to thank you once again for tuning into the award-winning podcast for the 3rd time this season.
It's always a pleasure.
You and Placey are currently tied, and make sure you watch this video ASAP because after your interview, I have a surprise for the entire league. So get ready.
All right, I will definitely do that.
All right, Bonesaw, enjoy Minnesota life, and I will talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you later, bud.
And there you have it, guys. We'd like to thank Bonesaw for participating in another award-winning interview here. It's just kind of been a little bit of a routine with him. Every few weeks, he jumps on the podcast here. So all you got to do is score the most points, which I haven't even done yet this season. And if that would ever happen, you guys can slam me with questions because I threw some daggers at you guys. I'm sure it would be, how the hell did you get Amanda? And why'd you peak at hockey at age 13 and all kind of aggressive shit. So, anyways, I know I had to, what I said at the beginning of the podcast here, I do have a surprise for you guys. And it's been a long time coming. And I'm going to get him on the phone here right now. And he's going to be making his first interview in Team Monkey Bar history here. And we would like to welcome to the award-winning podcast here, Mr. Brian Hickey. Brian, how are you doing today?
Good, how you doing, Rob?
Doing excellent here. Just want to, first of all, I'd like to just kind of give a little bit of disclaimer here. Brian, he's a big fan of the award-winning podcast. He's heard good things about it, and we'd like to thank you for jumping in here. The entire league's a big fan of yours, and we'd like to just thank you just for being such a good friend over the years.
Oh, that's not a problem.
Not a problem at all. Is it right? So where are you at right now?
Cranberry.
They give you a hotel?
Yeah.
Which hotel are you in up there?
The Super 8, actually, with the peasants.
Oh, that makes like the Connor Lodge look good.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it gets the job done. Get some clean sheets every day.
Yeah, I can't beat that. All right, Brian. Hey, I came up with some questions for you here. And every week, as you might have seen, the top point getter gets asked some questions here. And I wanted this to be a little bit surprise to the viewers here, so I came up with 8 questions instead of having everyone come up with one anonymously. And are you ready for these 8 questions?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all, though.
All right, so question 1 is, do you feel any remorse towards Palacey for delivering a legendary speech and completely burying him in the Fetch wedding?
Oh, I didn't bury him.
Brian, we saw the speech. It was great. We heard it.
No, I thought Palacey did a great job. I know he's super nervous, as was I. And I'm sure you heard, I thought the whole thing was a joke to begin with.
Yes, it's been documented on a prior podcast.
Yeah, so it was like the night before I actually didn't get any sleep. And I wrote this speech. So, I mean, for that, I thought I did pretty well for not preparing it at all. But
you did a great job, Ryan. And I mean, whoever does my speech has some big shoes to fill here. So we would like to thank you for touching a lot of us that night.
Oh, well, hey, I tried, man. I tried.
I know, Brian. Question 2 is how many hours did you work today?
Today was actually a shorter day. I got up around 3 and I got home at like 4ish. So 13 hours.
When did you go to bed?
I don't know, probably like 8 or 9 o'clock.
Wow. I think I worked like 2.5 hours today.
You guys hiring?
Yeah, man, we're always hiring here. Sell some overpriced drugs that are shitty quality, and you'll get to learn all about the business.
All right, I'll have to look into that.
All right, next question is, who would you rather be locked up in a room with for 24 hours? Brian Boehm, Larry Briggs, or Jane Durwanko, and why?
Jane Durwanko, 100%, because we would get fucked up.
Yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, Brian and Jane have a great relationship. That is Stephen Durwanko's mother. Brian has been notorious for calling her at 3:30 a.m. to just pretty much just talk about life and just pretty much make sure each other's doing well. So yeah, they have a great relationship, as well as he has a great relationship with all of her mothers. So next question is, what is the most amount of money you've ever spent at one night in Cross Creek?
Oh, jeez. I honestly, I couldn't even tell you. I know that I've seen like on a pretty hefty drinking night, maybe like over $100.
It's not too bad.
No, it's not. I mean, it's really hard to get $100. You know, it's not like Southside. It's pretty cheap.
Yes, it's pretty cheap, and but it brings Brian back. Next question is, who would win in a fight, Casey or James Neal?
James Neal. Is this still a thing? Is this still going on?
Yes. Casey also stated that he could probably beat up Chris Letang if they were sizing each other up. And
I was gonna say, I thought back in high school it was Chris Letang.
Well, it's back to Chris Letang now.
Yeah. Either way. I mean, I know Casey's been putting in a lot of hours at the gym, but I feel like it'd be.
James Neal.
I think he'd hold his own, but I don't think he has the stamina.
Yeah, that's kind of like I think Mike said it best. James would win 11 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I mean, Casey would have that one. That's a good point. Yeah, I agree with Mike.
Mm-hmm. Next question here is, what is the most amount of goals you've ever scored in an amateur hockey game?
I have no idea.
I know, you scored so many.
No, it's not like that. I couldn't tell you.
Just say, okay, the answer for everyone, the viewers, is more than you. And the last question I have for you, Brian, is, will Brian Hickey make a future Team Monkey Bar comeback?
Yeah, I'd like to.
You still have it?
It's definitely possible.
You still have that power move?
I guess you got to come to the game and find out.
And that concludes this interview. Brian, I would like to thank you for tuning into the award-winning podcast. You are always welcomed here, and I'd like to have you on another future episode.
Thanks, Rob. I enjoy listening to these.
All right. Take care.
All right, buddy. Later.
And that concludes our surprise guest, Mr. Brian Hickey, tuning into the award-winning podcast. We'd like to thank him. He is he's a good friend of a lot of ours and a avid listener. So this concludes the I hope you guys enjoyed this. Looking forward to the feedback here. This concludes the Week 10 podcast here. Best of luck to everyone in Week 11.